let me be clear. I continue to contend that this big hold up about, or this big rush up that we have right now with the Jeffrey Epstein then and release all the documents. Let me tell you, while I am happy to see some fire under Donald Trump, I want us to stay focused on what the problem really is. The transfer of wealth of the middle class and the poor to the wealthy, the plutocracy, the oligarchy taking advantage of us all, and the autocracy that's being created in the presidency, sanctioned by a Republican Congress and a conservative Supreme, or I should say, a MAGA Supreme Court. But let me tell you what I see here. When you see Nick Fuentes, yes, anti-Semite, but a Trump lover, a Trump supporter, one of the leaders in the MAGA movement, has this to say, you know, there is something here. And I'll expand on this after you hear Nick Fuentes as via Lawrence O'Donnell. Check this out.
Here's the way it was going for Donald Trump among his previously fanatical supporters before the Wall Street Journal's reporting tonight. Here's a well-known anti-Semitic, Holocaust-denying Trump supporter who had dinner with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago once, today reacting to what Donald Trump said about supporters like this guy yesterday, when Donald Trump said, I don't want their support anymore. And he called them all, including Tucker Carlson and this guy, weaklings.
And now he says, if you're not on board with the Epstein cover-up, oh, I don't want your support. You're a weakling. F*** you. F*** you. You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are. You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, you know I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. And the liberals were right. The MAGA supporters were had. They were. When we look back in history, we will see Trump as a scam artist.
The MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. The liberals were right. We never had reason to expect to hear those words from fanatical Trump supporters. I didn't expect to hear those words last night from fanatical Trump supporters. That's how fast this is moving. We never, ever had reason to come close to expecting to hear anything like that until Jeffrey Epstein, in effect, rose from the grave to separate Donald Trump from those fanatical supporters.
All right, let's get this right. It seems at this point that there is a concerted effort to screw Donald Trump. I mean, I hate to put it that way. I mean, today it comes out about him having a health issue that they're actually, we know about his swollen ankles and all kinds of stuff for some time now. We allowed the media to put a whole lot about Biden's health condition and mental acuity, etc., when we always knew Donald Trump was a nutcase and Donald Trump was overweight and likely not in very good health. But somehow the mainstream media allowed that to slide as Donald Trump continued to push the issue about Joe Biden. But here's the kicker, right? We always knew that while we put all these blames on Donald Trump as being an evil person, etc., we always understood that Donald Trump was just the face. Donald Trump was just the instantiation of something that has been occurring in this country to some would say since its inception, but on steroids since Ronald Reagan. Yes, we have made strides for the middle class and the poor and minorities, etc. Yes, we have made strides, but there has always been that boat anchor that ensures that the strides those the many make would never, ever, ever put a threat on the plutocracy. And with Trump, we're seeing that as well. We are in what's known as end state capitalism or end stage capitalism. And that is where this system has taken away as much as it could, or approaching taking away as much as it could from the vast majority of people, the people that they pretty much consider disposable. And now it has to continue growing, and it has to continue growing faster than everything else, right? That is how it's defined. That is a mathematical formula that governs this economic system. And in order for it to continue, we have to create those distractions and those fights and those hates, etc., among people. And Donald Trump was an excellent conduit. But anybody who's watched Donald Trump over the last few months have seen that he's gone from an irrational, crazy person to one that is maybe getting out of control, and it's starting to mess with the pocketbooks of the plutocracy now. They want a level of chaos, but they just want the level of chaos in such a manner that people don't understand that they are being screwed by the plutocracy and not by the other or each other. But Donald Trump may have been getting out of control for the puppeteers. And you know what? When that starts to occur, they take you out in some form or the other. And I am watching closely because, like I said, the Jeffrey Epstein story doesn't do much for me. After all, the man, Donald Trump, is a person who's openly speak about grabbing on to women's private parts. He's been convicted. He has no soul. We know he just about launders. I mean, the guy is just an evil being, and the hate and the isms in America still found it fit to put him into office. So the Epstein doesn't mean much to me, really. And it still doesn't, right? Because I don't think there's anything in those files that would make me feel any worse about Donald Trump as I do now. He's a despicable person. And whether he's also a pedophile or not, I don't know what lower level of despicability that would take him. I don't know. And not only that, I still think people would support him. But what people eventually may turn on is when they feel, especially his base, when they finally wake up to the point and say, wow, he deceived us. I don't know if you remember several blogs ago, I said, my biggest fear is what happens when MAGA wakes up. And the question is MAGA waking up? Again, I don't care about Jeffrey Epstein or the papers or any of that. What I care about is whatever incident, is it waking up MAGA? And what will the consequence be? Will it suffice for them to just rid themselves of Trump? Because after all, JD is waiting in the wings, and JD is a lot smarter and a lot worse than Trump could ever be. You know, we are in trying times, people. what I'm going to tell you all, we got to keep our eye on the ball. We have to find politicians ready to serve, ready to repeal all the evil done by Donald Trump during his administration, and start supporting Americans, the working class again. But we are in troubled times.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.